an Apple Watch lawsuit, no more space gray, 1Password, and a Digg reboot. This is Mac Voices. Mac Voices is supported by MacVoices Magazine, our free magazine on Flipboard and on the web. Want to cut through all the noise and find out what you can do with your Apple gear? MacVoices Magazine focuses on just that, aggregating the best how-to articles and information. Get it by searching for Mac Voices in the Flipboard app or visiting macvoices.com/magazine. Switching to the Apple Watch, Apple has won a patent battle against the Live Core, which avoids a potential Apple Watch import ban. Now, this is just to be clear here, this is not the big one that has the heart rate sensors turned off in the US. But I felt like this is a step in the right direction because this was another potential ban that they could have that Apple could have been hit with because they, according to the suit, AliveCore claimed that Apple infringed on its intellectual property by using patented information when creating the AFib detection feature. So, I know at least 3 people that have gotten that message about having AFib, one of which it could have ended very badly. But they've gone to see their doctor or gone to an emergency room and been taken care of. So I'm glad that it was not turned off, and I still question whether that's a really good thing for I can't think of their name. I'm sorry. Let's see.
The oxygen sensor.
Yeah, the oxygen sensor. Right. Yeah. So we shall see. For some reason, there's a debate going on in the chat room about the Oxford comma. I have no idea why. Sometimes the chat room just goes in a completely different direction.
The comma is right, though.
The comma is right?
You have to have the extra comma. If you get rid of it, it means something totally different.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It was a reference to the "Hey Chuck, comma Barry" comment where a comma was put in. And then it started a discussion on the Oxford comma and the necessity of it.
Oh, okay. I just saw it and it's like, I don't understand. Okay, whatever. Eric was talking about he wants to see the color of the new MacBook Air. The Mac's, according to this article from Macworld, the Mac's space gray era is officially over. So are we going to see us going back to a lot more aggressive colors, and probably not iMac-like colors like the candy colors, but I don't know how I feel about this because I've never paid that much attention because I usually I always put a case on my Macs. So I've really have never been wedded to one color or another. And
so you don't think there's going to be a Mac Mini Dalmatian?
Like the old gateway computers. Yeah.
Oh man, I wish that. Oh, gee, that brings back some horrible memories.
Yeah. Oh my God, Gateway! I did own a Gateway.
But the MacBook Air you can still buy in space gray, or not the MacBook Air, iPad Air you can still get in space gray.
The new ones?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm
looking at the page right now.
Okay. Well, this says, and the article is referring to the Macs. I mean, again, I sometimes look at these things. I know some people get really cranked up over colors, and that's why I was picking on Eric a little bit if it meant something to him. But I just, as long as it works.
I think the space black is what really took over the color. I mean, everybody, when the space black came out last year, that's what I dropped. I was showing the laptop this space black is, and it doesn't look black when you look at it. It's got the black tone to it, but but it's but I think that's what really took over the color schemes with the space gray. I mean, I would buy space gray all the time on my older Macs back in the day, prior to this. In fact, this M1 might be a space gray. That I think about it, I think when Space Black came out, I got this. This one's my work Mac, and I wanted. I was like, oh yeah, I want that right away, and then I got it. So because they were offering both at the time, I believe this is this might be an M3 or an M2. It's probably an M2. I think that's really what it is. I think Apple saw writing on the wall. More and more people were ordering Space Black, and there's no sense having a color that's very similar to it when it's got just a little darker black tone to it.
Yeah. I'm sitting here with, I think, two or three different space gray models.
Yeah.
And, for no real good reasons. I was either always silver or space gray.
Right.
Now it'll be space black, but it is what it is. Anybody excited over this? Is it a big deal?
No.
For us or for the customer, or the I guess the normal people? No?
No.
Not really. It's like I said, it's like when I if you remember 3-4 months ago, I got this new Mac Mini, which is I now dedicate as my MacVoices live computer. And how'd you like it? Well, I plugged it in, did the migration, transferred, and everything worked just the way it's supposed to. So that's what I care about, how it works, and not so much how it looks. So.
Oh yeah. Just
put an ugly case on it, and it all looks the same.
Yeah.
I'm holding out for Dalmatian. Dalmatian cover.
Okay, there's some.
I'm sorry. When Apple introduced that Dalmatian iMac, and they did it in Japan, and I stayed up till like 3:00 in the morning to look at it, and I was so disappointed that I stayed up that late to look at that silly ass thing.
Oh man.
And there was another. I can't remember what it was, but there were two of them that were.
Oh yeah.
Funny
What was
plastics?
What was the other one? Oh shoot.
iMac?
Yeah, it was the all-in-one, the plastic iMacs. So it doesn't matter. Just
it was one. It was as they were sort of winding down.
Check Marty's colors under his Yum poster. He might come to you.
Those were, I think, those were the first candy colors, but they weren't
after that.
the patterns.
Huh.
Oh, thank you, Marty.
Okay, so let's find that.
See,
there you go, Marty.
I'm going to learn how to. Oh my God! There you go.
Need it for the
your
mini.
Dalmatian case.
Need it for the mini, though.
Huh.
And you got to learn how to use the short URL there, buddy.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what. To make it easy here, if anyone wants this, if you go to Amazon and put in that description, you'll be able to pull it up. Because I don't have the short link thing going on.
I got the short link. I can put it in the.
Okay.
I can put it in the.
Put in the main chat, and I'll throw it over.
That's what I'm going to do. Yeah.
Yeah. But and Brian came to the rescue. Brian pointed out it was the Flower Power iMac.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. He's the big colors on the iMac.
Yeah, Brian couldn't be with us tonight, but he's in between flights, so he's in the chat room solving our problems for us. Thank you, Brian.
Well, yeah, it was Barry who said that. Yeah.
Oh no, I'm saying it was Barry. Sorry, not Brian.
Yeah.
Brian just said the space gray color has varied so much over the years too.
It has. Yeah.
And my studio light just went nuts on me, so I'm going to black it out and start over.
Ooh.
I said I'm going to start over. There we go.
I'm holding out for highlighter yellow, or maybe blaze orange, because I find those colors to be relaxing.
Yeah, you've got that strange thing for blaze orange for the Vision Pro, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Saw that in person. Yeah. It's pretty blaze.
Yeah. All right. So I just threw the thank you. Who gave that to me?
Me.
David did. Dave gave you the link for the hard case compatible with MacBook Air 13, et cetera, et cetera. Fancy cover, pattern shell, black and white, touch bar, polka dot, cute Dalmatian, clear protective plastic.
And
The
I
show
just
is now-
found a skin for Webb to put on his Mac Mini.
Well, thank you.
Marty's on the prowl for you, buddy.
Marty, you really shouldn't have.
101 Dalmatians.
Okay, the show the show is completely off the rails.
We're
I'm
going off the
sorry.
rails here.
I'm sorry I even brought it up.
That's all right. That's all right. It's sort of par for the course, you know. Whoops! I just put the wrong thing in the YouTube chat. Sorry about that. Let me go back and get this. So it seems like we're hung up on the Ultras the Macs tonight. But Apple has said that not every M generation or Apple Silicon generation will get an Ultra.
Right.
And they gave some reasons for it. And okay, I don't have any strong feelings one way or the other. As long as it performs the way I want it to, I don't much care what they call it. Or for that matter, what's under the hood. It's more what the actual performance is. Is this a big deal? Anyway,
got to
Dave?
justify the cost. I mean, between the Ultra and the Max. I mean, look at benchmarks. Is it worth that upgrade? You know, I really didn't look at that closely, but
yeah. Well, I mean, it's going to be out of our price range, I would think. You know,
well, you're talking $4,000 or $5,000 probably.
Yeah.
All said and done.
Yeah. So I don't know. I didn't think this was a big deal. You know, I think I admit it does seem, and Marty referenced it earlier, the naming nomenclature is a little strange.
Yeah, it is.
But, you know, and also you would think that if you're buying an M4 anything, it would probably be better than an M3 anything. You have to keep in mind that you're buying two M3s as opposed to one M4.
Yeah, and I think the idea, they're not going to upgrade this machine every year or every chip cycle. So that's why you're not going to see Ultras with every new chip.
Well, yeah. Look how long they delayed the Air from last year. I got the M3, the M2 had just come out, and it was less than a year that the M3 came out for the Air, and then it was a full year plus before the M4 came out because they delayed it. So.
Yeah, and Marty, I think you bring up a real good point that how many of these are they going to sell? So is it worth putting the engineering into it, especially when they've got the M3 and it's got the power it does? So maybe they'll skip the M4 and look at an M5, or maybe we'll get an M4 Ultra when the M5 comes out.
Yeah. I think it's kind of good too, because the people who can use the M3 Ultra will know that the number of cores matter and it doesn't matter what the name is. And everyone who doesn't really need it will just be happy with the M4.
Do you think that maybe they're trying to set up for the Mac Pro, the big Mac Pro?
In my mind.
Maybe that'll be the super duper M5. Maybe there will be an Ultra in that generation. So they're trying to separate between the Mac Pro and the Studio. I don't know. I've been wrong so many times. It's not even funny.
Do we need a Pro at this point, given the Studios?
You took my question, Marty. Yep.
It's the same thing. I think the Mac Pro is I think its days are numbered. I mean, the Mac Studio is going to be a perfectly good editor's Mac, and you can max it out at 14K with if you wanted to get everything maxed out on it. So it's got some pretty big speed bumps, and I mean obviously the Mac Pro
but the Pro doesn't the Pro have the expansion on it? I've never looked at one closely, so and I could see in some real high end
Yeah.
video editors and some other instances like that where it might. Granted, it's a limited market. So is the trash can Mac, for that matter. So
I mean, the Mac Apple just did delay on the Mac Pro. They didn't do any updates for quite a while from the trash can to the Mac Pro, and then they took a long time before they moved up to what it is now. So
yeah,
I don't think it's much of a priority. I mean, I just don't know if any shops are going to want to buy an M2. I think is what it is now.
I agree.
Before when this powerful M4 can be great with Mac Studio. So, but again, I'm on that market like you, most of all of you guys are here, and hard to say, what Apple's looking at in the trends in the marketplace for that.
Well, I believe it was on the Mac show on the British Tech Network that Jeff pointed out that the studios will support an expansion bus for PCIe cards.
Right.
And so that kind of takes, I think, the wind out of a Mac Pro's sales. I know that the Mac Pro, that there are people out there that are fans of the Mac Pro form factor.
Yep.
But I keep asking, with the kind of power you're getting with this and with the Thunderbolt 5 expansion capabilities.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Except for certain PCIe cards for specific use cases, and they are very specific, do we really need that particular form factor and all the costs associated with it?
Well, really, what they want is they want the $500 wheels to put on the bottom of those.
Yeah, and the $6,000 monitor to attach to it. So
that too, yeah.
Yeah, and look, I know we're being flip about some of those things, but do we need it?
I think it's their Halo device. It's their Halo hardware. It's the top of the top, and I think that's how I view it.
Like I said, who are we to judge? We aren't the users of this platform. I mean, as far as the high end, we have some pretty serious graphic art editing, video, and just some pretty serious power you need to have any of these. I mean, Marty, all kidding aside, you probably do some things with it, but you also like to have the latest and greatest, which is great. I'm like that too, but I can't do it all the time.
Yeah. Webb, maybe I got lost in your comment, but so do you think that there will be a new Mac Pro, or do you think that the Studio is the new Mac Pro?
Like I said, I've been wrong so many times, it's not even funny. It could be. Like I said, I think it's a Halo device. I think it's what they can do. Like I said, it's when you have a computer that you have to spend $500 to put wheels on it, that's a show off. Like I said, the Halo device. It's is it kind of like the high end, being the car guy that I am, the high end Corvette that Chevy makes. It's just the very top end. Will they make it? I don't know. I can see that they're going to do it. Is there going to be a big audience for it? No. I don't think there's a big audience for $500 wheels either, for that matter. So, and I'm not thoroughly convinced that there is a big audience for the $6,000 reference monitor. There were some people that did it, especially professional video people, but do any of us here have that monitor? Nope.
Not the $6,000 one, no.
Yeah,
No.
I'd like it, but it's.
I think I know somebody who has it.
Well, and I've seen it. Pardon me, I've seen it, and it looks gorgeous.
Yeah.
But I'm afraid my eyes aren't good enough to really appreciate it. Now, if Jeff were here, I keep referencing Jeff because he's sort of our graphics guy, and he's the guy that appreciates the subtleties in the color tones and the calibrations of the colors and all. And so I take nothing away from a $6,000 monitor, because there's more than, it's not just Apple that's building them. There are others out there for very specific use cases. But for most of us, I don't think we need it. I'm not sure how many of you all are 1Password users,
Yep.
but I'm kind of anxious to see the response to this. New 1Password feature can display codes and logins based on a user's location. Now, Apple just came out relatively recently with a passwords app of their own, which is great. It's maybe a little bit better than bare bones password manager. And if you're not using a password manager, for heaven's sake, please start using Apple's. But if you want to step up to the high end, 1Password, in my opinion, is the way to go. There are a number of them out there, and there are a lot of good ones, but I want somebody that I can really trust. 1Password has been around for a long time. They've had, as far as I recall, no significant break-ins or issues ever.
Nope.
Now, this feels like a way that they've looked at the fact that Apple has come out with a password manager and said, we have to up our game. We have to come up with something different. And this actually feels useful to me. Does anybody else feel like they like the idea?
I think
I've been a 1Password user since 1Password 2. Okay, so I've been using it for a long time. I think they're up to 9 right now. And I haven't read the article. I don't know what the use case is. I'm not saying that it's good or bad. I just so it knows I'm at the office, so it knows what passwords to bring up. Is that what it is? Or?
That seems to be that's basically the gist of it. Web, yeah, or the ones to suggest to you. So, I mean, since I have a home office, okay, that may not be particularly useful for me, but if I'm traveling, it could be very useful.
I was going to say the same thing, Chuck. Who says where I'm working? When I go to Chicago, I'm working. When I'm, work is not just in one location. So to have a set of passwords dedicated to work at a particular location, which would be down on campus, it's that's not where I do all of my work. So I'm a 1Password owner and user. I'm almost afraid I'm afraid to cut it off because I like the Apple password arrangement. So I do have some stuff in 1Password. Don't use it as much as I should because I'm using other password managers that come up on my screen and are ready to go. But this location thing just confuses me. A lot of things confuse me, but this does too.
I think it's useful if there are physical codes you need at a location. Like if there's a pin pad and you got to put a particular pin pad number in, or you need a note of instructions of what to do when you are at that particular secure storage facility. Like you go in and the code's this and the app to be able to open the doors, this other, that kind of thing where I never need it unless I'm physically standing right there. And I really would assume just as, rather not ever even come across it unless I'm in the physical spot. But the rest of the time, I'm virtually bouncing around and I never know what code I'll need where. So, but for key codes, that could be helpful, or at least a convenience versus searching through trying to remember, let's see, what was the username and, how else do you narrow it down to figure out what the code is? Being able to say, I am here, what thing do I need? It's kind of a nice alternative, and it's easier than taking a picture of all your codes and instructions and using the Photos app to tell you, what do you need to know in this spot, because that's just not as secure as it should be.
Barry in the chat room said this sounds like a great feature for sorting through large databases of passwords. Brian said, I wonder how the location feature will be impacted if utilizing a VPN, which is a really good question, Brian.
Mm-hmm.
So, and if you're using a VPN, I mean, you're obviously going you will obviously still be able to look up passwords just the way you can now. But to how will this feature affect that? We got to find out.
But your phone would still know where you are. So it's only a problem if GPS goes away.
True. If and I don't know, will this, I don't remember seeing it in the article.
I'm assuming this is a GPS coordinate thing, which is why it's your whatever location it pops up. It's just asking your phone where you are.
I don't know if it taps into location services or not, Eric. If you had location services turned off. So
I'll have to try it.
Yeah.
I'm curious now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I would tell anybody, take a look at it. But yeah, I strongly endorse 1Password because I have not only my passwords in there, but there's their secure area in there that is the place to store your driver's license, maybe credit card information in the event that your credit cards get stolen and you need to call and cancel them. So a lot of good reasons to use 1Password.
I second that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Been there,
Okay.
done that.
Just don't forget your password for your vault.
Your 1Password, do not forget.
I did.
Oops.
I've been crying for years.
Yeah, but you know what, Eric? They've done a really nice job of first of all, you can print out something and then take it and put it in a secure place, preferably like a bank vault or a bank lockbox or something.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but I tell you what, the thing I really like about it is, if I sign into a new Mac and load up 1Password and log in, all my passwords come tumbling in. And that is so convenient because the first thing you're going to do when you're provisioning a new Mac is have to look up a whole lot of passwords.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and you got the security key as the extra key there too, or the secret key, excuse me.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but I feel obligated because Dave Eric, to your point, I had a friend who forgot her 1Password. And she didn't have any of the collateral that she was supposed to do, the security key, nothing. And she called and said, help me get it back. And they said, we can't.
Yep, it's done.
You're gone. You have to start over. And then she was mad about it. And it's like, look, it's your, sorry, but it's your fault.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so. Was anybody here ever a user of Digg?
Yes. In fact, I just watched Digg Nation when they just celebrate them getting it back.
Well, then you just took my lead, Dave, because Digg apparently is coming back.
It is.
And Dave, maybe if you've watched something about it, I'll let you take it and tell us what they said, because this is a surprise.
Surprised but exciting too. If anybody doesn't know, Kevin Rose who started on Tech TV and was a hacker and all kinds of fun stuff. And he's a venture capitalist now, and he's invested in a lot of great companies. And he originally started Digg, and then he ended up selling it. And then it's been sitting dormant for a long time. And then he decided, along with Alex Albrecht, who's his partner in crime, to bring it back, and it's going to be even better. They just did a Digg Nation was a very popular podcast that they did for many years and has a huge following. They just did a great show the other day, and it was at South by Southwest. So they had all kinds of fans there. It was live, and had some great guests that came in. Jason Calacanis was on there talking about it because he wanted to buy Digg. He said, I'll pay you $1 million for Digg. And Kevin said no. And then he turned around and made, 10 times that amount when he sold it. So, but it's going to be a great aggregator. I think they're going to put some a lot better information on that site. And I think I'm looking forward to what they do with it. It's always a lot of fun to follow the news, and I think they're going to do some really cool things, because so much has changed in the last 15 years. 15 years at least is when Digg was original, when they did it. So, but I'm excited about this.
I think it's going to be interesting given how important Reddit has become,
Right.
But also given the whole environment around social media now that has become so potentially polarizing and politicized, and how they're going to keep that off of there, or at least keep it to a minimum, and get back what they really, the way they want it.
Right. Well, one thing is they did have the one of the original founders of Reddit, and I believe they're going to be he's partnering with them to get help them along to get it like this, to be a competitor to Reddit. I think it was a competitor at one point, and it kind of fell on the wayside because look where Reddit is today. But I think it's got some great potential now. I mean, when it got sold, it was, you'd think it's going to become something in a link farm, and I think the last company that owned it, it was garbage. It was as bad as that fake Tua site. But I think it's exciting.
And was anybody else a Digg user of any consequence? Yeah, I'd played around with it, but I really didn't spend that much time on it.
Yeah.
So, well, hey, we'll see. It'll be one more place to have a presence and see what comes of it.
I did sign up to get an invite.
Yep, so. I already did.
Yeah.
Yeah, reserve your name.
Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with MacVoices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices, or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you Mac Voices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.